everybody. Well, I'm Gerardo Garcia from Telefónica, and I'm going to introduce the new feature that was developed for release 18, that is the cluster management in OpenShift-based infrastructure. Well, this feature corresponds to number 11,057, and the objective is to manage the life cycle, creation, update, deletion of Kubernetes clusters in OpenShift-based infrastructures. Well, when the feature was created, we made it generic because we didn't know at that moment in time if we were going to use Cluster API or a similar API such as the one provided by Red Hat ACM. In this case, we will use the one from Red Hat ACM. So we won't interact for cluster creation with CAPI directly from OSM. Okay, I don't know if behind the scenes the ACM is doing it or not, but we are going to use the ACM manifest. You will see in a minute. And the feature relies entirely on the new architecture for cloud native management of infrastructure and applications, what we call the declarative framework in OSM. It's basically relying on the GitOps approach, right? Let me remind pretty quickly what means the orchestration in intent-based environments. So basically, what's the role of OSM right now is basically OSM is, well, just working in an intent-based environment means interacting with a Git repository in such a way that we can guarantee well, that the objects that we or the manifest that we deploy in that Git repositories are properly extracted so that well, we are minimizing errors, well, also following the best practices and also making sure that changes in one cluster do not affect the other, etc. Right? So, in general, working with Git repositories or following the GitOps approach in multi-site, multi-cluster environment is far from being trivial, and that's why OSM has a role here, and that's where OSM plays a role as orchestrator. Basically, all the management of the manifest is done by OSM. OSM is the one that it's pushing the different manifests into the Git repository. Well, it also allows you to, there is a specific configuration of the Git repository and the different folders to manage a specific synchronization order so that whenever we have a cluster, we synchronize first the infrastructure controllers or the add-ons, the operators, let's say, and in their configurations, and later on the applications that are in the cluster. That guarantees that whenever we do a change, things are done in the proper order, okay? And also, well, this framework is also taking care of the preparation of the clusters that we are creating from OSM to be able to interact with the new GitOps, with the Git repositories, right? That's basically what we have since release 16. And now let me go through the feature or specifically that is the cluster management in OpenShift. But before we go into that, let me remind how is cluster management in OSM today with Crossplane or CAPI or Cluster API, right? So we have our source of truth, the Git repository, and we have a management cluster in OSM. That management cluster has Flux installed. Flux is in charge of synchronizing with the Git repository and making sure that the changes are properly synced. And at the same time, that management cluster has some operators and CRDs to be able to interact directly with public clouds or private clouds. In this case, I've used Azure and Google Cloud, but we could have also an OpenStack-based environment. Okay, and the crossplane in this case is used to interact with the public clouds and Cluster API with the OpenStack environment to create clusters, Kubernetes clusters in those clouds, right? So basically, whenever Flux detects a change, there will appear different manifests to create clusters with Crossplane or with Cluster API, and those will be applied to the appropriate cloud environments. Okay, so that is the first step in cluster creation, but you need to take into account that also, in addition to that, besides the clusters that are created in the management cluster, in the Git repository, there are other intents that are captured inside the Git repository. So we have dedicated folders and manifests for each of the clusters. So if we want to create if we have created already an EKS1 cluster in Azure and a GKE cluster in Google Cloud, at the same time, we are incorporated in the Git repository the appropriate folders to be able to deploy infra controllers, infra configurations, and applications. And moreover, okay, this first synchronization or bootstrap is done in the cluster to install already Flux, so that Flux gets synced with that specific or those specific folders that are created in the Git repository. Okay, so that's the way it works. And once we have Flux there and the synchronization is happening, every a specific manifest that we deploy in the different profiles that hang from these infra controllers, infra configs, and apps here are properly deployed, okay, or could be properly deployed, right, in the cluster. Okay, any questions so far? This is state of the art release 17, okay. Okay, so what has been well? So somebody could think, well, let's follow the same approach for OpenShift clusters. However, this approach is not possible. The same approach is not possible for OpenShift clusters. Why? Because, well, the recommended approach today by OpenShift to deploy OpenShift clusters is to do it with the specific manifest via Red Hat ACM, the Advanced Cluster Management Framework. Okay. It doesn't matter that maybe in the future we will be able to use Cluster API, for instance, okay? But for the moment, those are proprietary operators and CRDs, and we cannot deploy them in the management cluster of OSM. So what we have done is, instead of doing this, we have relied on the ACM management cluster. So basically, we have the same source of truth. We have our management cluster, and we need to register the ACM cluster, okay, that has already the CRDs to create OpenShift clusters, okay, and that's the one that we will use to create the workload cluster. Everything in the end will be done through the Git repository, but only the ACM cluster will, let's say, is the only one hosting the CRDs required, and it will be the responsible for creating the workload cluster, okay? Any question on this? Well, so what does it mean exactly? Well, the first thing that we need to do, obviously, is that in order to interact with ACM, we need to register the cluster in OSM. In that way, we will be able to interact with that cluster through the Git repository, right? So the registration is similar to any other Kubernetes cluster in the new framework. So here is an example where we are providing a name to the Beam. It's Madrid OpenShift. It's a dummy cluster. And we are registering the ACM with some credentials in that Beam, and that's all, okay? And when this command is launched, what it happens behind the scenes is that there is the cluster registration is happening, and in the end, what happens is that there is a bootstrap of the ACM cluster. What's the meaning of bootstrap? It's basically an installation of Flux in the destination cluster, in the ACM cluster in this case, and it's got all the configuration to sync with the Git repos that were properly also populated to be able to sync the changes in the future in the manifest for when the applications, everything, all the profiles that are created, etc., so that we could deploy applications and add-ons in that cluster. Okay. Once the ACM cluster is registered in OSM, we can right now use the Git repository, the Git repo, to deploy any Kubernetes manifest in the ACM cluster, including the clusters required for the OpenShift workload cluster creation. Any question? Okay, So now that we have registered our ACM cluster, we want to create OpenShift cluster. So what in the end, creation of OpenShift cluster and the preparation of OpenShift cluster for OSM is an operation that it's basically adding manifests in a repository. What manifests are added are the ones that you see here. Well, I have split the manifests into two main sets. Okay, those are done by the same, in the end, by the same, it's a single operation from the point of view of OSM and a single commit into Git, but inside, let's say it's split in two, and I think it's convenient for you to understand the logic, right? So there are some manifests that are related to the cluster creation that are basically this OpenShift test OpenShift OSM1, that it's a customization that is in charge of the deploying, let's say, the cluster, right? The workload cluster of creating. This is the customization that governs the cluster creation. And there are some additional secrets that are required as part of this process because, well, they are required in order to create the infrastructure and make sure that the infrastructure is accessible and has access to the Docker registry. Okay, I will comment in a minute. And besides that, we have all the manifests related to the actual Bootstrap, the installation of Flux, the configuration of the different profiles, etc., and all the synchronization with the Git repository, right? It must be noted that the main difference with respect to any other cluster creation or any other cluster registration is that some manifests do not land in the management cluster of OSM. So you see here that they land in ACM. Here you see the ACM folder is the name of the, well, it's the name that I use, for instance, in this case for the ACM cluster. Okay. And all the manifests related to this cluster lands in this folder. Okay. Yeah. Well, because they are actually deployed in that cluster. Okay. Yeah. Any question? Okay, so let's comment about OpenShift cluster creation. So first of all, let me comment that there are different options for the control plane and for the workers in OpenShift. We can use a dedicated control plane or reuse the same control plane for different clusters. The reuse of the same control plane, but with dedicated, let's say, pods and namespaces, etc., it's called Hypershift, okay? And also for the workers, we have two options: either use bare metal infrastructure, so new nodes, completely compute servers, okay, or use virtual machines, okay, based on Qubit, okay. We have made some choices for the future in order to focus on some specific manifest to be created based on the priorities, let's say, in production, okay, and that was why we selected Hypershift and Qubit. But I mean, this is something that should be definitely configurable and well, when creating an OpenShift cluster, we should allow the end user to tell what kind of solution they will choose for the control plane and for the workers, right? And this is something that hopefully will be added in next release and could be properly even cherry picked to release 18. Okay. Any question on this? No. So
Well,
yeah.
just a question for clarification because probably it's implicit what you said. The changes after say thinking future wise is not just changing one parameter here and there, but probably incorporating a collection of manifests selectively, right? So, but just to put an example, you will need to incorporate some specific manifest for bare metal class nodes that are different, potentially different from some of the qubit ones, right?
You're right, Javier. The idea exactly, the manifest could be different, so there will be components that will be options, or we will need to use ones or others, okay, depending on the case. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we need to be selective with components and all the.
That's
things. Okay.
probably the situation. Yes. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So actually, in the end, the OpenShift cluster creation, well, there are let's say different manifests involved, right, in the cluster creation, specifically, not in the Bootstrap, right? So I'm going to focus in the cluster creation, and then I will comment about the Bootstrap. So focusing on the cluster creation mainly, there are some manifests in the software catalog repo that model the OpenShift cluster creation. Are the ones here. So you see that are some manifests, hosted cluster, cluster-led, managed cluster, node pool, that are, let's say, cluster related, and other namespaces. The namespaces are the ones required for the objects that will be deployed. So the different objects here require some namespaces to be created, because also there are some dependencies that are managed by OpenShift, and these namespaces need to be created. And well, you have here more or less the managed cluster is the main category. Then we have the hosted cluster that it's, let's say, the manages or controls somehow the control plane in Hypershift. The node pool, which is the workers, okay, and has a reference to the infrastructure, and to the secrets here that we will see in a minute, okay, and the cluster-led add-on config that it configures the kubelet options, okay. And these manifests are, let's say, in the software catalog, but in the fleet repo is where we have the actual, is where we are putting the manifests that we create in OSM with our functions, okay, are the ones that are actually, so these are, let's say, static, and once they have created, they are used as many times as required and by the customizations, right? In the fleet repo, what we have is a customization pointing to the previous manifest with the appropriate value substitution, plus some additional secrets that need to be created related to the infrastructure environment. Okay. One thing that it's here we have the two secrets mainly. The SSH key secret is the contains the SSH key required to access to the workers, and the pool secret is the credentials to access to a Docker registry to download the OpenShift images, right? And those one thing that is important is those secrets already exist in the infrastructure, but they are associated to a specific namespace related to the infrastructure environment. So let's imagine that we have different infrastructure environments managed by an OpenShift. There is something that is called InfraEnv in OpenShift. I will show you in a minute, okay? And you could have servers organized in different environments, right? And here, every environment could have potentially different SSH keys to access to everything and pool secrets, but there is a single secret to manage this in every infrastructure environment. So these ones are not directly accessible by us. So in the end, what we do is we take this information from ACM and we create specific secrets in the namespaces that we will use so that they could be used by our objects, right? In addition to that, those secrets are actually in the repository. So they contain the information, but they are properly, as you can imagine, as everything in whenever we are managing secrets in OSM, they are properly encrypted with SOPs, okay? And the H key that is used to encrypt the secrets, you can imagine, is the key of the cluster that is managing these things, which is the ACM cluster, okay? So the second step that happens everything in a, let's say, single operation in OSM, but just to let you know that because, well, I want to focus right now on the manifest, specific manifests that are related to OpenShift clusters, right? And the second thing that is important to mention is the OpenShift cluster bootstrap, okay? The bootstrap of an OpenShift cluster, it's slightly different. There is already a well-documented information from Flux about how to bootstrap a cluster, and it mentions basically the two things that need to be done that I have captured in the slide. First of all, we need additional manifests for cluster role and cluster role binding to configure the security context constraints for the Flux service accounts. And also we need to apply some patches in all the deployments and namespaces via customization, right? So that's what well, we have done basically. So this is what we have added as part of the security context constraints. It's not something that we have done by ourselves. It's the same that you have here. When you access here, it's the same information. It's a cluster role and a cluster role by. nothing new, okay, following the recommendation. And the other thing is the changes in the customization. We need to add the reference to the SCC YAML file with the cluster role and cluster role binding and the patches that are commented. That again, if you will go here to the documentation, is what it's captured here, exactly the same. Okay. Any question on this? No? Okay, so it's time for a demo. Well, I don't have a pretty. I would like to have a much more beautiful demonstration, but I'm going to do my best to try to make it appealing. I have already registered. Let me check here. Mhm. Let me connect to one of the clusters here. Well, I'm going to connect right now to the OSM, where we have, I don't know if it's this one. No, it's, sorry, this one here. Yeah, well, I don't need to connect directly to the OSM here. I could connect from my computer, but I didn't remember the IP. So now let's check right now what's the VIMs. You see here we have two VIMs. In this case, I have registered a VIM that is called Madrid OpenShift. And I have already a cluster here in OSM, okay? This is the ACM cluster, okay? It was created and registered in OSM. What does it mean? That there was already a registration process. I did it before the demo for the interest of time, okay? So that we could concentrate on the OpenShift cluster creation. Now let me show you that as part, well, I did, in fact, I did it a long time ago, but let me show you that this bootstrap, this registration of the cluster was done in such a way, as we were commenting, every OpenShift cluster, an ACM cluster is an OpenShift cluster, needs to do the bootstrap with the security context constraints, etc. Okay. So let me show you here in the repository, in the Git repository. We have ACM. You see, this is the folder, the specific folder for the ACM cluster. And you see here that there is the SCC and the customization.yaml that I was commenting. Okay. Whenever we register the cluster, since this is an OpenShift cluster, there is a new flag right now for the registration of clusters that allow us to register an OpenShift cluster. Okay. And this is what was done in this case. Yeah. I think that it's pretty clear. The rest of things are, the registration is exactly the same as in other clusters. Okay. Well, so now that we have I could show you the logs, but there was here an imported cluster, ACM, you see here, operation. This flag is related. This is a commit that I made weeks ago to register the class. Okay. Well, let's move on right now. So we have registered the cluster, and now it's time to deploy to create the cluster. So for the cluster creation, well, I'm going to do it through the terminal. Sorry, the VS Code. Let me show you here. Okay. So what I'm going to illustrate is what the function that we launch from the workflow does actually to generate the manifest, right? So let's just one moment. So let me show you. Okay, so I'm passing here different parameters that are required. You see here, for instance, things such as the number of nodes that we want in the cluster, the cores, memory, and volume size, etc. Those are variables that I'm loading. Okay, these are actually passed by the workflow, but I'm doing myself here in the function. Well, I'm loading the credentials, the Git repository. This is also done everything by the workflow, and I'm using the key of the that I will use for the key of the ACM cluster. Okay. And now this is the command that will do the creation of the OpenShift cluster, and I will show you what's the work that was done. So let me go right now to the repository. We check this is what the workflow of OSM does, right? It's in the end calling this function with some parameters like the name of the cluster, the version of Kubernetes, the OpenShift release, the information about the working count, cost, memory, etc. Those are the parameters that are and additional parameters that are required in this case because, well, there are some new parameters that are required when we deploy in ACM. Okay, this is actually the final function that is called by the workflow. Okay. And in the end, what this does, let me go to the here. These are the files that will be added by the commit. Okay, you see here there is a set of files related. There is a specific folder that is created under clusters. That is the test OpenShift OSM1 is the cluster that I'm going to create. Well, with everything, yeah, their own the repository, the Git repository for the software catalog, the repository for the fleet repo, the infra configs, infra controllers, everything here. And in addition to that, we have here the manifest that I was mentioning before. This manifest here is the one that will create the cluster, and this one here is the one that will create the secrets required for the cluster creation. Okay. Also, this is important. I think that this is the SOPs key, right? The H key that will be required because any cluster requires a key so that it could decrypt and encrypt the secrets for the that are stored in the Git repo, but every cluster has its own key. This is the key for the test OpenShift OSM1 cluster, and it's encrypted with the key of the ACM cluster. Okay, it's tricky, but it's the way it is. Well, so now we have created this, and now what I'm going to do is just going to make a commit for this and push the changes and done. Okay, so in this screen here, what I have is a view of the OpenShift, sorry, of the ACM cluster, the Advanced Cluster Management, the OpenShift cluster that, let's say, manages the different OpenShift clusters in the environment, right? So you will see that the system here will synchronize and will detect changes in the repositories. And this right now is detecting some changes. You see this change in the commit ID, right? That's probably my change. Okay, I could check it. 90A5, 90A5, and it's been synchronized. And it will apply the different synchronization layers in the ACM cluster. Okay, and after that, it will deploy the different elements, right? So this will be done shortly. Yeah, you see that it's right now synchronizing. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to go to the OpenShift console in the UI. Okay. Sorry. Oh.
Something that is interesting to comment is that, I mean, in the end, we are mm, putting and focusing most of the effort on understanding the CRDs and the connection between those objects in a new technology. But somehow, what we are doing leverages on some architectural decisions that we took in release 16 and that we can apply for other cases, not necessarily only for OpenShift. So back then, if you remember, we were considering the cases where we could not concentrate everything in a single management cluster, but that we needed to create some sort of hierarchy or having some subsidiary management clusters. So we everything was prepared for that from that perspective. So now all the effort that has been done, that is a lot, by the way, it has been focused on understanding the peculiarities of OpenShift instead of recreating the architecture from scratch. So
Yeah,
this is opening
yeah,
us the door also for new technologies that may come and not
e-
necessarily in the radar.
exactly. And the good point is that in the end, adapting to changes in the future is as simple as changing just one or two manifests, maybe that could change slightly. That's a good point. Okay. Also, yeah, but that the main effort was exactly understanding that. Yeah, you're right. We can see here already that there are already some customizations that are deployed. Those customizations manage the creation of the cluster and the bootstrap of the cluster. Okay. And you see here that different objects, a new namespace is created in the cluster. Some secrets are created in the cluster. Okay. A specific a managed cluster is created, a hosted cluster is created. Okay. We see here this hosted cluster, and we also see, well, a cluster and a managed cluster. Okay. And we see also a node pool. Particularly if we go here to the test OpenShift, you see here test OpenShift for SN1. This is the one that I'm just creating. A few seconds ago, it was telling us creating. Right now, it says importing. To be honest, the cluster import process. I don't know what does it mean exactly. I think that it's been imported into the console because it was created by a different tool. In our case, OSM. Okay, that's why probably it's telling us this. Okay. Well, then this is more or less the process. After a few minutes, it will be ready and the bootstrap will start. Okay, this takes some time. It's just a matter of waiting, but I think that you get the idea. Uh, is there any question on this? No? Okay, so, well, basically just a reminder, what we have seen is, well, that there are two processes, the ACN cluster registration and the OpenShift cluster creation. That's the one that we have done. And I don't know if there are no more questions.